All right, everyone. Hang on. You good? All right, everyone, good afternoon and welcome to Texas Motor Speedway. We are going to start off this weekend's media availabilities with William Byron, driver of the number 24 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. We will go ahead and open it up to questions. Who would like to start us off? Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless microphone to you. Start with Bob Pockers.
Bob.
Good morning, afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Bob Parker's Fox Sports. You had the tire issue last week at Kansas. Was there anything that you've learned this week about what occurred? And is there any concern this week considering another 1.5 mile track in the same left side tire?
Yeah, no, it's a good point about the tire being the same. I think that, I kind of leave it up to the engineers. There's nothing that I could do different. I felt like, that was definitely the cleanest run we had, probably the fastest pace we had, being in the lead and running up front. But I don't know if any of that really contributed. I think it's just one of those things that everyone seemed to go through last weekend at some point in time. Just lucky, fortunate that I could drive it back to pit road and not have any body damage, but we certainly had a lot of underbody damage that caused us a lot of loss of speed over the race. So that was unfortunate. Kind of we didn't do a great job kind of keeping up with the track after we had our issues there with the left rear, because it definitely took away a lot of downforce.
Go next to Jerry Jordan.
Jerry Jordan, Kicking the Tires.net. I got a couple. Next weekend, obviously, the 600. Is there ever a point in that race where you're like, oh my God, I wish this was over, and you're behind the wheel? And how do you handle that and stay focused in the race?
Yeah, honestly, not last year. I felt like last year was a game of runs. Like, obviously, the 5 was great all night, and I felt like we were inching up on them each run, inching up, and then we did take the lead at one point in CH3. And so at that point, I thought the race was going pretty fast because I felt like we're constantly just trying to. Oh, that's not good. But we were constantly just trying to get a little bit better as the race went on. And as soon as we took the lead, it's like, all right, now we got control of the race. And so you're trying to, think about all those things. So I thought it goes by, I guess to answer your question, it goes by faster when you're running well. If you're not running well in that race, it's definitely a really long race.
And also, coming up, the Cup Series is going to go to Gateway. I'm not sure if you ran there in trucks or not, or any of the Xfinity.
One time.
What are your thoughts on Cup cars being there, and anything you can take away from way back when?
Yeah, there's really not a ton I can take from when I raced there because they repaved the track. The engine package for us is obviously going to be a lot different than what I raced there in the truck. So I feel like for me, it's going to be all kind of a clean slate. I look towards like a Martinsville or a Phoenix to kind of understand how the track's going to drive in these next gen cars. So probably more so Phoenix, but longer straightaways kind of. So it might be like Martinsville and corner entry, at least to turn 1. So I'm excited for it. I think our short track program's been really good this year, and I mean that's not a short track, but it's definitely kind of races like one. Mm-hmm.
Next question will come from Holly Kane.
William, Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. I wanted to ask you about the All-Star race. Do you roll in here with kind of a different feeling because it's big money, no points on the line? Do you guys feel the way fans look at this race with the kind of the way it's set up and everyone going for it? So.
Yeah, it definitely is a little bit of a weirder, preparation for the week. Like it's probably the least that I know about this race of any race every week. I feel like you get in a rhythm and you go to certain racetracks. You know how the stages are going to play out. You know how long the race is, and you kind of plan all that in your head of what's important. And then you're also kind of worried about, getting a good finish. And I think that this race, you're not as worried about, getting a solid finish. You're kind of just worried about winning it. And that definitely brings a different, interest leading up to the week, just to think about, like, what's it going to take to win instead of just what's it going to take to get myself in a position to win. You're just really thinking about, trying to, the qualifying format. You're thinking about how do I maximize that to get on the pole. Mm-hmm.
Go to Steve Post.
Steve Post, Motor Racing Network. William, having this all-star race here and having a race later this year that is part of the playoffs, I know a lot changes, but from a simulation standpoint, from a data standpoint, how much will teams, manufacturers call this weekend in preparation for future races here, specifically with this new race car? This is the first time we've been here.
Yeah, it depends a lot on the weather when we come back in the fall. Like, is it going to be 45 degrees? And I think that alters your simulation quite a bit. I feel like you can get a baseline for travels and get a baseline for what the track content is and things like that, but really nothing simulates the change in weather. Like, that's the biggest variable I feel like in a lot of this is kind of figuring out is it gonna be similar weather. I mean, so luckily Sunday's kind of cooler, and that might simulate more what the fall is gonna be like. Mm-hmm.
Come over here to the center.
Brian Mapes of Xfinity Racing. You're running your first Xfinity Series race tomorrow since your championship in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
How did that all come together with your Hendrick teammates, and why now, after 5 years, did you want to come back to race on Saturday?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think it really came together just through Mr. H and Jeff and Chad and everyone at HendrickCars.com. They wanted to do this, and it was something that they saw that was a benefit to us, and they asked us, who wanted to race, and I think really adamant that I wanted to do as many as possible. Obviously, I only can do 5, but I'm going to do 3 as far as I know. So, it just, I don't know. I think it's good to get a feel for this place. I haven't been here in a while in an Xfinity car, like you said, and I feel like the Xfinity car is probably closer to the Cup car this year with the low downforce. So maybe I can learn some things there and ultimately just have some fun and try to go win a race. So it's gonna be a scorcher, so hopefully I stay hydrated and don't fall out of the seat.
Additional questions for William? All right, William, thanks
All
for
right.
spending some time with us, and good luck this
Thanks,
weekend.
guys. Appreciate it.